So,
So we'll get started. Yeah. So what was the last topic we saw? It was about the electric field due to a linear charge, right? Electric field due to an electric field due to an infinitely long conducting line, right? So the next topic that we will see is, actually the second topic that is given in your textbook is electric field due to a plane sheet, an infinitely long plane sheet. I will do every time at the end. So I will start with the last concept, that is, we will calculate electric field due to a spherical shell at a point outside, or I'll take it at a point inside, on the surface, and outside. So this is the heading. So our work is to calculate the electric field due to a spherical shell at a point inside, on the surface, and outside it. Okay. So that's our next job. So first tell me one thing, what is the nature of object? It is spherical shell. So this is object. So what kind of an object is it? We need to think, is it a one-dimensional object, two-dimensional, or three-dimensional? What is it?
Three-dimensional.
Three-dimensional object. Okay, accepted. So for a three-dimensional object, what is the type of charge density we are going to define?
The volume.
So we are supposed to define the volume charge density, right? So in this case, if I take a sphere like this, okay, if I take a sphere, remember a sphere's extension on a two-dimension is going to be a circle, right? Means I can see only like a circle when I try to draw it on a paper. That is what I meant there. So let's say the radius of this spherical shell is capital R. Okay. Now I give charge to this material. See, there are two types of conductors you are going to face. One is called as spherical conductor and spherical shell. What is the difference between both? So what is the difference between the word sphere and spherical shell? We need to have a clarity about it, or else we are not going to proceed. We cannot proceed. So what is it, guys? So when I think of a spherical conductor, I am trying to say that I can store the charge within the conductor. Means if I give a charge, the charge will be present within the conductor, right? Whereas when I say it is a spherical shell, then what do I mean?
So inside there will be another sphere, right?
Inside there can be another sphere, or what I can say is it will be hollow inside. It can be hollow also, right? So when it is hollow, what do I say? There is no mass. When there is no mass, there is no transfer of charge. So whatever charge you try to give to a spherical shell, where will it get saved, or where will it get stored?
In the non-hollow part.
In the?
Non-hollow part.
So which is the non-hollow part present for this? It is
The outer circle.
outer circle. So try to understand, wherever you see spherical shell, no, the charge will be present only on the surface. Okay. So to put it in simple terms, the charge inside the spherical shell is a big zero. It is not present at all. Are you guys able to understand the difference? So when I say spherical shell, the thing that comes to your mind is three-dimensional. When it is three-dimensional, we tend to apply volume density. But in this case, am I allowed to apply volume density? That is volume charge density.
No, sir.
Because the charge is not distributed over the volume, rather it is concentrated on the surface area. Okay. So the steps to be followed. What is the first step? So I will write it as inside. I'll take the point inside. So when I take it inside, it is going to be something like this. So we know that all the charge is going to be concentrated only on the surface. Is there anyone who didn't understand why it will concentrate only on the surface? It is purely because it has no mass inside. There is no matter present in it. So if there is no matter, obviously there is no charge, right? So if I take this point P, which is at a distance r from the center O, my job is to find the electric field at this point. So what am I supposed to do? What are the steps to be followed first?
First, we should define the electric charge density.
I need to define the charge density. If I say the total charge is Q, then what are the type of charge density I will define? Sigma is equal to Q divided by, tell me that, Q divided by 4 pi, Q divided by 4 pi, what?
Epsilon.
Yeah, no. The spherical shell is of radius. What is sigma? Sigma is charge density. Charge is the amount of charge per unit area. So it is 4 pi capital R square. This is the area over which the charge is distributed. If I take this as the first charge, okay, if I take this as the first condition, then now tell me the steps to be followed. You need to consider a Gaussian surface, right? We need to consider a Gaussian surface, and the Gaussian surface is supposed to pass through the point where you're trying to calculate the field. So I will use another color C. If I take this to be the Gaussian surface, so it is passing through the point where the field is to be calculated, right? On the Gaussian surface, what am I supposed to do? I need to take a small area and assign direction to it. The area is dA. Any doubt till here? Right. So if I apply the formula, surface integral of E vector dot dA vector, this is equal to 1 by epsilon naught times the charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface. The Gaussian surface is the pink color, the green color surface, right? So what is the value of charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface? Is it not a 0? So since it is 0, if I substitute it here, the surface integral of E dot dA vector will be 0. Since dA is not 0, from this I can conclude that E is equal to 0. So what is the important conclusion that we are drawing from here? When you talk about a spherical shell, the electric field inside it is always 0. Am I clear? Any doubt? Anybody with a doubt?
Sir,
Yeah, tell me.
you told that the charge density is volume, no, sir?
Sphere means it has mass. When I say a solid sphere, when I say a solid, for example, you take a cricket ball, right? Cricket ball is a solid.
Huh?
Cricket ball is a solid sphere, means you can store the charge inside because matter is present. But here I told it's a spherical shell. A spherical shell is nothing but a hollow sphere. So when it is hollow, there is no matter present. See, how is charge created on a material? It is because of transfer of charges from one atom to another. When there is no matter itself, then where is the question of atom? So when you give charge to it, the only option is it will take the charge. But the question is, where is it going to store? See, for example, if I take this water bottle, if I fill water in it, where is the water going to sit? The water can sit only within this limit. If I try to fill in more water, what will happen? Even after the brim is reached, what will happen? The water will start flowing out. No, same is the thing here. Okay, you can think of a conductor like a container. Where will the water, like the charges, where will the charge go and sit inside the container? It will sit only on the surface of the bed. It is because that is the only place where mass is present. Does that make sense? Are you able to understand?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So that is the reason why the electric field inside is 0. So what about the electric field outside? What is the electric field outside, guys?
Sir, we have to take a point outside.
We have to take a point P outside and then we'll proceed. Let's see, let's try out. So don't forget here there are two variables. There is one variable, small r. Capital R is a fixed constant because the radius of the sphere is fixed. I'm using the same spherical shell. So if I take a point P outside here, then what am I supposed to do? I will take a Gaussian surface outside. Right, when I consider a Gaussian surface outside and it is passing through the point where the field is to be calculated, on the Gaussian surface I will be considering a small area, and the areal vector for this is going to be in the outward direction. And now remember, there is charge present here. Okay, my Gaussian surface is in the bad shape. Wait. So Gaussian surface in this case is also a sphere. Okay, so this is dA. So there is positive charge present. So due to this positive charge, what do you think to be the direction of electric field at this point? Is it not going to be in the same direction as that of the areal vector? Because due to a positive charge, the electric field is always away from it. Right? So you will have multiple electric field lines. Out of those multiple electric field lines, if I am concerned about the electric field which is passing through the small area that I considered, I can observe that the electric field and areal vector in that case will be in the same direction. Correct? Right? So after this, what am I supposed to do? Find the total charge. So Q enclosed is how much? Q enclosed is equal to capital Q. That is the total charge, sum of all these positive signs put together. I wrote it as capital Q. Do you guys remember that? So I wrote it as capital Q by 4 pi r square. No, that was charge density. So the total charge present is capital Q. Or I can write this as sigma into 4 pi r square. They both mean the same. You will, in your textbook, you will find it like this. But if you refer some other book, you might find it in terms of sigma also. They both mean the same. Why? Because sigma is equal to capital Q by 4 pi r square. Take this to the other side. Capital Q will be sigma into 4 pi r square. Okay. So after this, what are we supposed to do, guys? Surface integral of E vector dot dA vector is
Sir, why
equal
are we calculating the charge now, sir?
because you need the total charge that is enclosed within the Gaussian surface, no? For me to substitute it here.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So E and dA vector are in the same direction. Surface integral of E into dA into cos 0 degrees is equal to 1 by epsilon naught times the capital Q. Right. So E is a constant. The surface integral of dA is equal to Q divided by epsilon naught, which implies E into, what is the surface integral of dA here?
The area, right? Surface area.
It is 4.
4 pi capital R square.
Very good. It is 4 pi. Sorry. It is 4 pi small r square. Because you considered this areal vector on the Gaussian surface. Remember, the radius of the Gaussian surface is smaller. I told you, small r is variable, capital R is fixed. So this is a point you need to be very careful. Please underline this. It is 4 pi into small r square, not capital R square. Nikhilesh, I hope you understood.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it is 4 pi into r square. This is equal to Q divided by epsilon naught, which implies E is equal to Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught small r square. So this is going to be the electric field due to a spherical shell outside. Right? Is this result not similar to a point charge? Right? So due to a point charge also, it is Q by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. No? So it is similar to a point charge. So an important note to be made here is, what an important note we are going to make is, concentrate. When we calculate electric field due to a spherical shell, at a point outside it and at a distance small r from its center, okay, at a distance small r from its center, then it can be treated as if the total charge of the spherical shell is concentrated at its center and treat like a, and consider the scenario of, or I'll write it like this, and consider the scenario of point charge. Okay, this is an important note.
First line, sir.
First line. When we calculate the electric field due to a spherical shell at a point outside it and at a distance smaller from its center, then it can be treated as if the total charge of the spherical shell is concentrated at the center, and consider the scenario of point charge. Okay, shall I move on? No. So what is the third position at which we need to find? On the surface. Right? When I say on the surface, small r will be equal to capital R. Simple. So electric field on surface will be like this. Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught capital R square. Because outside what was the value? Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught small r square. No, if I put small r is equal to capital R here, then it will become Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught capital R square. That's it. So this is the value on the surface. So an important point to be noted here is, on the surface the value of electric field is constant. Because Q is constant, 4 pi epsilon naught is constant, and R is also a constant. Is everyone clear? Right? Shall I move on?
Yes, sir.
Sir, can explain it again, sir.
Sorry, I didn't get you. What is it?
Explain this part again, sir, that on the surface.
Explain again. See, outside the surface, you understood, no? Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught small r square. Right? When the small r becomes equal to capital R when it comes here. When small r travels and comes and stops here, then small r will become equal to capital R. Just substitute that value of small r is equal to capital R, you will get the electric field on the surface. Okay, so this is another important point. They might ask you to draw the graph between electric field as a function of distance. So electric field due to a spherical shell, I am framing a mathematical equation. It is 0 when the value of small r is less than capital R. It is equal to Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught capital R square when small r is equal to capital R. It is Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught small r square when the value of small r is greater than capital R. Correct? Now see. If I take this as the threshold value, that is capital R, I have to observe what is going to happen on the left of capital R and right of capital R. Right? So what can I do? From 0 to capital R, what is that I am able to observe?
0, right?
From 0 to capital R, the electric field is 0. Correct? Just before capital R. Exactly at capital R, what is the value? It is Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught R square. So it will be somewhere over here. Okay. And its value is going to be Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught capital R square. Here E is 0. After capital R, what will happen? The electric field will decrease like this. And its equation is Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught small r square. Here guys?
Yes, sir.
So this is all about the electric field due to spherical shape. That's it. Okay. So make a note of this point. Okay. So that's it. The last topic of this chapter is electric field due to a infinitely long plane sheet. Long plane sheet. Okay, that's the last topic. Okay. So what do we mean by plane sheet, guys? So plane sheet is a two-dimensional sheet. Right. So a two-dimensional sheet obviously is going to appear like a rectangle to your eyes. Now tell me, if I take this white color thing as a plane sheet, okay, then I'm trying to say that the charge is given on this side and charge is given on this surface. If you have to visualize what charges are, if suppose I write something on it, let's say all those letters are like charges. If those letters are uniformly distributed from each other, I will call it as uniform charge distribution. Okay. Now our work is to find what is the electric field due to this kind of a system at a distance r from it. So from here, if I take a distance r, okay, then what is going to be the electric field at this point? Similarly, what is going to be the electric field on the other side as well? Okay. So for understanding purpose, I am taking a positive charge. And remember, this concept is very, very, very important for the next chapter. The name of the next chapter is electrostatic potential and capacitance. Okay, there you will be learning about a device called as parallel plate capacitor. At that point, this plane sheet is what is going to come into picture. Okay, please be very careful. If there is any doubt, get it clarified. Now, I am taking a point P which is at a distance r from it. Okay, madam? Now, my job is to find what is the electric field at that point. Okay, I'm going to use the same Gauss law. I'm not using any integration, Coulomb's law, nothing. So I'm going to use Gauss law. How do we solve? What is the Gaussian surface we can think of? What is the Gaussian surface we can think of, guys?
Yes, sir. Cylinder.
Huh?
Cylinder, sir.
You can think of a cylinder and a cuboid as well. I will show you how it looks like just in a minute. I have this plane sheet. Okay. I have written something on top of it. Okay. So you can think of those things, whatever I have written, as the charges. Now, for this, I have a point P where I am interested to calculate the electric field. So, what does Gauss law say? First is define the type of charge density. What is the type of charge density you can define? Sigma.
Area.
Surface.
So, sigma is equal to Q divided by 8. Let this be the charge density that I am considering. Here I didn't define the area. When I say area, I am talking about the area of this rectangle, length into breadth. But I have not write it as length into breadth. That is only difference. Okay. Now, for this surface, At this point, I need to choose a particular surface which is going to be symmetrical about the charge distribution. Then what can I think of? I can either think of a cylinder or a cuboid. So if I think of a cylinder, this is how it is going to be. So it will be something like this. Are you guys able to visualize this? So actually you are seeing the plane sheet like this. I didn't keep it like this. If I keep it straight like this, like how I'm showing it in the camera, you will not be able to see the other each side of the rectangle. You will only be able to see this line. So in order to see the sheet, I'm slightly tilting it. So this is the way you're seeing. When you're seeing, this is how the Gaussian surface will look like. So when I draw that, it is going to be in this way. Okay. Are you guys able to visualize this?
Yes, sir.
Right. This very, very tricky part. Please concentrate. If there is any doubt, get it clarified. So if this point is O, O to P is what is smaller. Correct? Now, on the Gaussian surface, what am I supposed to do? I need to consider a small area. So here I considered a cylinder. Sorry, let's go it. So I considered a cylinder like this with respect to the sheet. So the cylinder has a curved part, two flat surfaces. So I will take area on which side. Logically, you tell me no. If I look at the look at the sheet, the electric field is only going to be in this direction, away from it. Similarly, for this, it is away from it. Right. So keeping all these points in mind, if I call this as electric field, I will consider the aerial vector on each flat surface. Right. So in this case, the advantage is when you not integrate, you will get the answer in an easy C. Okay. So if I take the flat surface and I call its area as A dash. Okay, if I call its area as A dash. Right. Now, what is going to be the amount of charge that is there within this cylindrical portion? So what I am asking is, you have charges over the surface. No? The total charge on this surface is capital Q. The total area of this surface is capital A. So initially I wrote sigma is equal to capital Q divided by capital A. Right. So if I take the cylinder, let's say there is I created a small hole. So in this space where the cross section of the cylinder is there, how much charge do you think will be present there? If I take the area of this cross section as A dash, how much charge do you think will be present in this area?
A dash, sir. A dash itself.
It will be sigma into A dash. Why? Because sigma is equal to capital Q by A. Capital Q is the total charge divided by total area. Again, through the small hole also, the value of sigma is the same because it is uniform charge distribution. So equally the charges are there. Okay. So Q divided by A dash. Can I write it like this? Does this make sense? So small q will be equal to sigma into A dash. That is what I wrote here. Guys, am I clear? So it is sigma into A dash. And the electric field through this surface will be in the radially outward direction. Similarly, the electric field this side will also be in the radially outward direction, E. For this also, the aerial vector is in the leftward direction, dA. Or I will take it as A dash. Okay. Now, what does Gauss law state? Applying Gauss law, what can I conclude? Electric field vector times A dash. Here, if you see, I didn't write it as surface integral. Reason, it is easy for me to calculate the area of that cross section. It's a simple thing. We need not again introduce that surface integral and all those things. So E vector dot A dash vector is equal to charge enclosed divided by epsilon naught. Now E vector and A vector, they are in which direction? E into A into cos 0 degrees is equal to how much? What is the total charge enclosed by it? Sigma into A dash divided by epsilon naught. Here area is also A dash. Guys, any doubt till this step?
No, sir.
Clear, no? Right. So this is the this is the amount of flux through one surface, one flat surface. The electric flux through the other flat surface will be, this is the electric flux through one. So the electric flux through the other will also be the same. Correct? Huh? So if I cancel this A dash and A dash, then I will, so cos 0 is 1. So I'll get the electric field as sigma divided by epsilon naught, right? I'll get the value of electric field as sigma by epsilon naught, which is the electric field due to the whole sheet. Okay, to avoid this confusion, what I will do is, what is the electric flux through 2 also? The electric flux through the second flat surface is how much?
Same, sir.
It is E into A dash. Right? Guys, one small correction. I'm sorry. One small correction. E into A dash into cos 0 degrees. This is the electric flux through first surface. Accepted? So electric flux through the second surface is also E into A dash into cos 0 degrees. So according to Gauss law, total electric flux is equal to charge enclosed divided by epsilon naught. Correct? So what is the total electric flux? Is it not 2 into E into A dash, 2 into A into A dash times cos 0 degrees, which is equal to the total charge enclosed is sigma into A dash divided by epsilon naught. A dash and A dash are gone. So what do you get? E will be equal to sigma divided by 2 epsilon naught. This is the value of electric field due to each side of the plane sheet. So this is the value of electric field due to each side of the plane sheet. Okay. If you observe this expression, what important conclusion are you able to draw? There is one important conclusion that we can draw. What is it? It is independent of R. Right? So it is independent of R. Means the electric field is uniform. From this, what I can conclude is, if I draw a graph like this, then electric field as a function of R will be a constant value, and its value is given by sigma divided by 2 epsilon naught. Are you able to understand this point? So it is sigma divided by 2 epsilon naught. And I told you previously, whenever you talk about uniform electric field, see, for every electric field there should be a charge source. So going forward, if I ask you, tell me the source which can produce uniform electric field, what are you going to say? It is a plane sheet. So plane sheet is the best source for you to generate a uniform electric field. Here. So this value has to be remembered. And remember, this is the value of electric field due to one side. It is not the electric field due to both the sides. Electric field due to one side is sigma by 2 epsilon naught. electric field due to the other side will also be sigma by 2 epsilon naught. Then the total electric field, if we add them in terms of magnitude, will be sigma by epsilon naught. Okay, am I clear till this point? We'll do a problem based on this concept. If you're clear with this, I'll proceed.
Yes, sir.
Clear,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, sir.
So that's it. This chapter is over. Okay. So if people have done till 17th problem, no? You did till 17th problem.
Yes, sir.
So 10th one, 18th one, I'm leaving it to you. Okay. 19th one also I'm leaving it to you. It's a simple problem. 20th, let's do. So there is a point charge that causes an electric flux of -1 into 10 power 3 Newton meter square per coulomb to pass through a spherical Gaussian surface of 10 centimeter radius centered on the charge. Okay. So there is a Gaussian surface whose radius is how much? If I take the radius to be capital R is equal to 10 centimeter or 10 into 10 power minus 2 meter. What is the value of electric flux? It is -1 into 10 power 3 Newton meter square per coulomb to pass through the spherical Gaussian surface which is centered. If the radius of the Gaussian surface were doubled, how much flux would pass through the surface? Tell me, guys. If the radius of the Gaussian surface were doubled, how much would be the flux that is passing through the surface? What is the answer? So where is the charge present for
The
this surface?
same, right?
Where is the charge present here? The charge is present at the center. They told the charge is centered. So if the charge is centered, whether you consider a Gaussian surface of radius r, radius capital 2r, 3r, anything, the flux is going to be the same. And what is the reason for it? Since it depends on what?
Only on the charge inside the Gaussian surface.
Net charge.
Charge, only on the total charge present inside the Gaussian surface. Inside the Gaussian surface. Okay. So what is the value of point charge? This you can calculate. So what is the value of point charge? Flux is equal to Q divided by epsilon naught. So Q is equal to flux, that is -1 into 10 power 3 Newton meter square per coulomb into what is the value of epsilon naught? It is 8.85 into 10 power minus 12, the value. So by substituting all these values, so it will be what? Coulomb
Minus
square
8.854 into 10 to the power minus 9.
Coulomb square by Newton meter square. Right, Coulomb, 1 coulomb will become Newton meter square, Newton meter square. So it is minus 8.85 into 10 power minus 9 coulomb. Right, so it is a negatively charged particle. That is why the electric flux is inside the Gaussian surface. They are piercing into the Gaussian surface. Okay, it's a simple problem. Yeah. So 10 power minus 9 coulomb can also be written as nano coulomb. Or you can also write it as minus 88 point, that's it, nano coulomb. Okay, so moving on to the next one. There is a conducting sphere of radius 10 centimeter has unknown charge. The electric field of 20 centimeter, if the electric field 20 centimeter from the center of the sphere is 1.5 into 10 power 3 Newton per coulomb and points radially inward, what is the net charge on the sphere? So here, when they say conducting sphere, they are talking about a spherical shell. Okay. Why it is called as conducting sphere, you will understand only in next chapter. Because conductors have an important property that more charge can be stored within the conductor. They will always get stored on the surface. Okay. So what is the radius given? Radius is equal to 10 into 10 power minus 2 meter. Charge is what you need to find. Electric field is given as 1.5 into 10 power 3 Newton per coulomb. And R is given as 20 centimeter, 20 into 10 power minus 2 meter. So observe what kind of a scenario is this? This is R is greater than capital R, hence the electric field will be present. So when R is greater than capital R, E is equal to Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught small r square. Q is how much? That's what we need to find. So which implies 1.5 into 10 power 3 is equal to capital Q divided by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught is 9 into 10 power 9. Divided by R square is 400 into 10 power minus 4 into capital Q. So capital Q will be equal to 1.5 into 10 power 3 into 400 into 10 power minus 3 divided by 9 into 10 power 9. Now calculate these values. So 10 power 3, 10 power minus 3 cancel. 2 zeros and a 7 here. 1.5 is 0.5 times and this will go 3 times. So 0.5 into 4 is 2. So 2 divided by 3 into 10 power minus 7. Or it is 0.67 into 10 power minus 7 coulomb. Or I can write it as 67 nano coulomb. Did I miss something? 10 power minus 4. Then this will be 6. So it will be 10 power minus 10 minus 0.7 into 10 power minus 10 or 6. How much will you get? 1 minute. There is something else. This will be 10 power minus 1. So 2 into, correct only, no? So it is 0.67 and 0.67 into 10 power minus 10 coulomb or 0.067 nano coulomb. So how much is the answer given? They give 6.67 now. Okay, you guys calculate that part, you take care of it. So again, a uniformly charged conducting sphere of 2.4 meter diameter has a surface charge density of 80 microcoulomb per meter square. So they spoke about, so microcoulomb per meter square is for surface charge density, that is sigma. Okay, find the charge on the sphere. How will you do it? So sigma is given as
using the surface charge density formula. We can get
4
the charge.
pi r square.
Yeah, 4 pi r square is the area. So sigma multiplied by 4 pi r square will give you the charge. This part I hope you can do it. So capital R is how much? 2.4 meter. Substitute it here. We will get the answer. Okay. So the next question is, what is the total flux leaving the sphere?
So
So
Q by epsilon naught.
once you find the charge, divide the charge with epsilon naught, that will give you the total flux. Okay. So that's the idea. 23. An infinite line charge produces a field of 9 into 10 power 4 Newton per coulomb at a distance of 2 meter. Calculate the linear charge density. So the electric field due to a linear charge is given as lambda divided by 2 pi epsilon naught into R. So what I will do is I will multiply with 2 and divide it with 2. So can I write it as 2 times k lambda divided by R? So electric field is 9 into 10 power 4 is equal to 2 into value of k is 9 into 10 power 9 into lambda is what you need to find divided by R is how much? 2 centimeters. So 2 into 10 power minus 2. 2 and 2 are gone. 9 and 9 are gone. 10 power minus 2 goes up. So 10 power minus 4 is equal to 10 power 11 times lambda, which implies lambda is 10 power, sorry, plus 4. Huh?
Plus
Yeah, I changed it. So 10 power minus 7 coulomb per meter. So is that right? So 10 power minus 7 coulomb per meter. Next, there is an important. So this is a main problem I wanted to solve. So two large thin metal plates are parallel and close to each other. On their inner faces, the plates have surface charge density of opposite signs and magnitude is given. What is the electric field in the outer region of the first plate, in the outer region of the second plate, between the plates? So if I take a sheet like this and another sheet like this, so they both are facing each other like this. On their inner faces, the plates have surface charge densities of opposite signs. So here it is sigma, here it is sigma, negative sigma. So how much is the value of sigma? It is 17 into 10 power minus 2 coulomb per meter square. So what is the electric field in the outer region of the first plate? So this is first plate, second plate, outer of 1, outer of 2, and inner of or between the plates. This region is called between plates. Is it clear till this point? So two surfaces
Yes.
like this, surface charge density is on the left palm and the right palm. On the other side, I don't have any charge. My job is to find what is going to be the electric field on the left of the first, right of the second, and in between them. Okay, so how do we do? So first of all, what is the electric field due to a plane sheet? So electric field due to the first plane sheet is how much? Is it not sigma divided by 2 epsilon naught due to one of the sides?
Yes.
Correct, Arun? Yes or no? So it is sigma by 2 epsilon naught times I cap. Or what I will do is, I will call it as n cap, where n generally is used for normal vector. If I take this direction as n cap, this direction I will take it as minus n cap. I hope this point is clear. So what is the electric field due to the second charge? It is sigma divided by 2 epsilon naught times minus n cap. Right. Now tell me one thing, what is going to be the net electric field on outer part of first surface? What is going to be the electric field on the outer part of the first surface? This is the case. How much will it be? How much will it be, guys?
Could you repeat it?
Sigma by 2.
It will be 0. It will be 0 because, see, listen, electric field due to the first plate is in this direction. The electric field due to the second plate is in this direction. Okay, I made a mistake. It is n cap. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. It is n cap. Why? Because if I take the left side as positive plate, due to the left side positive plate, the electric field is away from it. The right side is negative plate. So due to the negative plate, the electric field is towards it. So both the electric fields are in the same direction. Correct? So on the outer side of 1, what would have happened? on the outer side of 1, what would have happened is the electric field due to the first and the electric field due to the second would have got cancelled. And I can put it in this way, that the electric field itself is not present at that point because the charges are present inside. So on the outer side of 1, the electric field is 0. Similarly, on the outer side of 2, what will happen? The electric field is still 0. But where is the electric field present? Electric field between the plates, what will happen to them? Electric field between the plates will be sigma by 2 epsilon naught plus sigma by 2 epsilon naught, which will give you sigma divided by epsilon naught. And this kind of an arrangement is what is called as a parallel plate capacitor. Okay, this kind of an arrangement is what is called as parallel plate capacitor. Is there anyone having a doubt?
Can you say how the
The seconds of
The second part, that is the outer surface of 1 and 2.
no, sir. The second surface is electric field direction. That part I wasn't able to get it.
If this is there, no, this charge is there. No. If this is positive charge, okay. If this is positive charge, on the right of it, what will be the direction of electric field? You take your left hand and keep it like this. If the left hand, the palm is given positive charge, what will be the direction of electric field? It will be away from the palm. That point is clear.
Yes, sir.
So what will be the direction of the same positive charge on the left of it? It will be in this direction. Can I say this is the direction of electric field due to the first surface? Due to the charge on the first plate?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Now remove the positive plate. Negative plate is there. So due to the negative plate, what will be the direction of electric field on the left of sheet 1? What will be the direction of electric field on this side? It will be towards it. So can I say the electric field due to the second surface is towards it? Does this make sense?
Yes, sir.
Right? So what is the magnitude of electric field due to the first surface charge density? It is sigma by 2 epsilon naught. What is the electric field due to the second surface? It is also sigma by 2 epsilon naught. So on the outer side of 1, the electric field due to the first sheet and the electric field due to the second sheet are in opposite direction. As a result of which the net electric field comes out to be 0.
Yes, sir. Understood, sir.
Okay. Similarly, for the right hand side, what will happen is the electric field due to the first sheet will be to the right. The electric field due to the second sheet will be to the left. Both are of same magnitude, but in opposite directions. Here also they will get cancelled. So where is the only region where both these electric fields are supporting each other? It is between the plates. You're able to understand this?
Yes, sir.
Right. So this is what happens. So that's it. We have done NCERT as well. So remember one point that except for current electricity, you need not do the additional exercise problems. For if you're practicing only for CBSE, you need not do the additional exercise problems as well. But if you're preparing for other competitive exams, it's better you solve the NCERT additional exercise also. Okay. So with this, NCERT part is over. From here, it is additional exercise. You can try, but I'm not saying you should not try. If you're interested, you want to try and you want to learn more, you can definitely try them. The questions will be slightly tougher. Okay. Secondly, I'll be giving another assignment tomorrow. See, I wanted to tell one thing. Yesterday, I went through all the assignments and I could see most of the assignment answers were common in the sense, those are all the languages which are used in Google or some NCERT solutions. See, one thing I want you to be clear is, if you don't understand anything, if you're seeing the book and writing and you're able to understand, I'm happy. in spite of seeing other books, you are not able to understand, you're just writing it for the sake of completing the assignment, don't do it. Okay, you can always reach out to me. Okay, so please message me and get your doubt clarified. There is a reason why I'm trying to show everything in a diagrammatic format. I'm expecting the answers to be like that. It is then I'll have a confidence that you guys understood. It is just the book answer, I'm not satisfied. 95% I saw it is some solutions book answer, or it is taken from Google or something, because that's not the language I use. So going forward, you need not have this fear of if you don't complete the assignment, you have done only a few problems, I'm going to say something. No, I'm not going to say. If I give 15 problems, let's say you are honestly able to do only 5 problems also, I'm happy. The remaining problems, you clarify your doubts. That is the reason you're coming here. It's not to copy, or it's not just to complete it and satisfy me. At the end, you'll be cheating yourself. Don't do that, okay? The same is applicable for tests also. Due to unfortunate thing, now I have to conduct an online test only again. Last year this has happened, that you people have tried to copy the answers. Don't do it. If that is going to be the case, I cannot give a genuine feedback. Okay, write it honestly. Even if you get a 0, don't mind. I don't mind about it. If you get a 0, I'll understand that where you need to improve. But if you copy and get a center, it is of no use for me and for you as well. Last minute, you will only be stuck. Don't do that, okay? I'll not talk beyond this. So that's it from my end. Any other doubt from today's class?
So,
Okay. So I'll be giving another assignment tomorrow. That is outside NCERT, okay? So I'll give you a 50 marks assignment from this chapter since I've completed it. Write it sincerely. If you don't know the answer, you can Google it, no issue. But ensure you understand after Googling it. Okay? That's it. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll start the second chapter.
Thank you, sir.
so after finishing the first
Thank you,
chapter, you
sir.
told we'll have a test